Hey everyone, I'm Mark,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. Well, welcome everyone to episode
Yeah.
32. As always, we are going to continue on our Final Fantasy IX series, kind of playthrough, walkthrough, whatever you want to call it. Our little disclaimer we always put out because we are nearing the end here is episode 6. Way back is when we started this, so if you want to kind of just begin the whole kind of Final Fantasy IX walkthrough from the start, that is the beginning. So last episode we left off where, Kuja was fleeing the
Seems like
desert
forever
palace.
ago.
We are chasing him on the Blue Narcissus ship, and that's pretty much where we left off. So here we are, man. Last continent that we have pretty much yet to explore.
Yeah, exactly. And we finally get like the little intro where it puts the title up on the screen and everything. Of course, we mentioned a little bit before that you could have gotten here earlier, like before the
Right.
story actually took you here. So we also talked about the chocographs that were here. I believe like Cold Field. So you could have gotten those earlier, or if you didn't get those earlier and you have those chocographs, there's some chocobo tracks that you can pick those up at.
Right.
There's also a friendly monster, right?
Yes, we do have the friendly monster. It's the Feather Circle. Keep in mind there are unfriendly Feather Circles around, but
Yeah,
you'll know based on the music and what
exactly.
it wants. It wants a Moonstone. So if you do give it the
Oof.
Moonstone, you will get 30 AP and a Lapis Lazuli or Lazuli,
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, nothing great. It's just, of course, that AP. Also, keep in mind if you don't really need the AP, like so, for instance, my game, I was actually I don't really have a whole lot to master anymore.
Right.
Maybe leave this and don't do it because that's the main feature. Obviously, if you do them all, that's kind of a cool thing. But the
Yeah.
main feature of these is that AP.
That's a really good point. Sometimes it's better to leave these until you have equipment that, have abilities that have a really high AP requirement to learn those because yeah, with these ones they're really getting up there now where, you've got 30 AP for this, so with ability up that's 60 AP.
Right.
So sometimes it is better to leave those.
Yes.
Yeah.
We actually have already been here. If you followed, we've already been to this place, but now the story has taken us to it, and that is Esto Gaza, right? So
Esto
here
Gaza,
we go.
man.
Actually, it's changed. If you came here the first time, it was just kind of like, it's
Yeah.
just a little town. You could talk to people, but nothing really was going on except for all that mithril stuff they sold.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I always love like the northern sort of climate, snowy areas in all the Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
This place is so awesome. It has one of my favorite soundtracks in the whole game. I think it's just called Esto Gaza, but really cool and just like a really nice vibe to it and everything.
Yeah.
But
It's
absolutely
kind of
love it
like a
here.
peaceful theme almost, like it's just
Uh-huh.
the songs really well. And here's the other thing that kind of sucks with this area, and this just happens other places too, is the soundtrack like might take a little bit to get going. So that's how this Esto Gaza one is. It takes a little bit to
Yeah.
build up, and yet the area's small, and so sometimes
Yeah.
you kind of like have to make it an effort to just stick around for a little bit, so that way you can continue to
Yeah.
hear the song and stuff like that. And so I agree. I really like it too. Super kind of just nice, peaceful area, snowy.
Yeah.
Except for you can't get into random encounters in the square.
Yeah. And these ones are actually starting to get pretty serious. So here you can fight Garudas. I think either, just one Garuda or in pairs of two.
Right.
And these guys kind of they can hit pretty hard. They have Fire Raga, they can hit you up with Stop. So it's kind of that point in the game where those status immunity auto abilities, like what is it, locomotion? I think
Right.
for stop, body temp is probably something that
Yeah,
you're
for
going to want to have
freeze.
equipped almost all the time, and antibody is just. We'll talk about that in a little bit here, but antibody you almost just want to have on constantly because venom is starting to become a status that enemies are throwing out.
Yes.
So
That's the thing, right? Is kind of up to this point with abilities, you kind of just do whatever you want, but especially in the recent areas that we've gone through, it's just the status effects and just the really terrible, horrible status effects are starting to kind of
Yeah,
pile up. And definitely, yes,
exactly.
definitely worth it to just kind of put those ones on so that way you just don't even have to worry about it. But
Yeah,
once you do get inside, it's kind of interesting, it's kind of like a temple, so to speak.
yeah,
I mean, there is the holy dude, I forget what, I think his name's Bishop is what it is, and
yeah.
it does look very sacred
Right.
and it's all like bright candles all over the place, really cool. I
Yeah.
do enjoy it. The dude is kind of a jerk though, man, he
He
really
is.
is.
Yeah, because where we're at in the story, obviously you guys all know. So Aiko just got kidnapped. We're chasing after Kuja. We're like trying to catch up to him and
Right.
save Aiko. And he's just, we're trying to figure out where they went, and he's just like,
Yeah.
keep your voices down. This is a sacred place and stuff. It's like, Zidane's just losing his patience, and
Yes.
rightfully so at this point. I guess the whole thing with this place is it's sort of sacred for the reason that, and you can kind of get a little bit of backstory on this earlier if you came here before the story took you here, but it's sort of like it's got a view of what they call the Shimmering Island, which is going to be a location later on that we'll go to, but they
Right.
call it's basically, I guess, a place where like the souls pass from this life to the afterlife, essentially, something like that. So
Right.
that's kind of why this place is so sacred. We eventually get the information out of the bishop, right?
Yeah, it does a little cutscene, right, where it just shows all the black mages coming through. One of them is carrying Eiko, which the bishop does, relinquish that info, and we also see
Yeah.
Kuja in it. And Vivi is, he's starting to still get pretty intense with the whole black mage thing, and so
Yeah.
he makes it like he is making you take him with you. And so if you weren't using Vivi,
Oh,
like I
right.
wasn't, well, he's with you now, and so
Yeah.
you do have to use him. Not a big deal. I mean, he's a great character, but it's just kind of like sometimes he does make it a little too easy.
Yeah. Well, he'll be a really OP character if you get a certain weapon coming up here.
Yeah.
But on that note, too, you were talking about how the bishop was kind of a jerk. There's a really funny part in that scene, right, where Kuja walks in and he basically just walks right up to the bishop and then makes the bishop like stand aside so
Yeah,
he can walk
Bishop's like,
through.
oh, I got something on my jacket, sweeping it off.
Right? I just thought that was funny because he totally like Kuji goes out of his way to make him move just to
Strong
assert his
arm 'em.
power.
Yeah.
Anyways, after you get that scene and that little segment there, go off to the right, over to where the shop we talked about earlier, but this time it's got a whole new set of
Oh
equipment.
yes.
And man,
It's
this
a
is
lot.
seriously the point in the game where yeah, things are incredibly expensive, but we'll do our best to try and go over some of the most important things here.
Yeah, well, I guess starting off, are any of these missable? I mean, we're kind of getting to the end, right? Where shops are kind of
Yeah.
just going to be what they are. Do we know if
Yeah,
any of these
so
are just going to disappear eventually?
yeah, Octagon Rod. I think a lot of them will, but I think the final place to buy them, for example, like the Zorlin shape is a new dagger for Zidane.
Right.
The final place to buy that is going to be a future place that we're going to go to. I don't want to spoil it, but there is
Right.
one other opportunity to get these. But once you get to disc 4, these all become missable. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure for the
So,
most part.
so
So
try to basically try to make it a point to get them now if
yeah,
you can, or as soon as possible. And yeah, so on that point, like Alex has said, it is a lot of items. They are starting to cost a lot. And so, I don't know. You could have Kina. You can toss on Millionaire and go do some fights.
yeah, that's a good idea.
That's probably going to be the best way, because even selling all those ethers it's not gonna even come close to what you'll need for this. So I'll
Right.
go instead of start us off. There's a couple of new weapons. You did mention the Zorlin shape, and
Yeah,
dude, what's with the ability? Honestly,
I
what the
know.
heck?
I totally forgot about this when I'm when we're doing the notes for this. We're looking it up just to refresh our memories on the abilities or if we played through it, but there's
Right,
so many different things. Anyways, Zoilan shape, flee.
and that's it. Yeah.
So that's the only ability. So really, Zorlin shape, I believe, I think it's used in a synthesis
It
item in
must
this
be.
form.
Yeah.
So pick it up for that. But again, they're like 6,000 gil. They're super expensive.
Yes.
So if you can get it, but you will have another opportunity. The main one that you do want to get here for real though, since Vivi is mandatory,
Yeah.
get the octagon rod. Even if you only get one item, get the octagon rod because not only does it have Fire Aga, Blizzaga, and Thundaga, but something that's going to be really, really important coming up here.
Yes. Kind of an added bonus to the staff itself or the rod,
Right.
whatever. Yeah. And to that note, I mean, that's even if you do have all the better staffs, or rods like this. You do want those tier 3 magics, especially in this place, and so that's a really good one. The what is it, Hamelin or something? It's another
Yeah.
flute, pretty good. It does have Cure Raga, so that I mean that's the strongest healing spell there, so that's really cool. And some other different ones. So I mean, again, kind of honestly, I would just kind of prioritize whatever characters you're using right now,
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
then
don't.
unless you got the money, I mean, go for it. But Flame Saber is just another, nice little sword for Steiner. Just you'll you got all the element ones now, right? You got the Ice, Thunder,
Yep.
and Fire now. So Heavy Lance is a new spear.
Yeah.
And Six Dragons is the
Oh
ability. I
man,
didn't know all this stuff, man. What
this
what
is
is that
weird.
ability?
Yeah, so Six Dragons is always such a strange ability. So I had to look this one up because it does some really strange things. If you use it, you'll probably be extremely confused as to what happened. So basically, it has a certain percentage chance, I think somewhere between 10 to 20% of doing, it's either going to restore your party's HP, MP, or HP and MP. And here's the kicker. Or it has a chance of reducing HP to 1, MP to 1, or HP and NP to 1. So
Gosh,
again, like, yeah, this
gambling.
is the problem with Freya. It's just not a reliably useful skill, unfortunately, and it's too dangerous to use.
You're really rolling the dice here.
Yeah,
You can either restore everyone to full or reduce everyone to 1. It's like, oh gosh,
right.
that'd be so scary.
And
So
the chances aren't that low. It's like 15% chance that some of your party members are going to be at 1 HP,
well,
1
yeah, and it's
AP.
Final Fantasy that makes it instantly at least 90% chance that that's going to happen. And so
Right. Good old
yeah,
RNG.
yeah, RNG's never on your side, no matter what the percentage is. And so another thing is we got Scissor Fanes for what's Amaranth. There you go, and
Amaranth, yeah.
pretty good. I mean, so I have the Kaiser
Oh man.
Knuckles. I am planning on buying this. I didn't just because I knew he was going to be the heavy hitter, but it does have
Uh-huh.
ore on it, which oof. I
Yeah.
mean that's good. Auto life and regen. I mean that's a really good ability.
Yeah, this is exactly why. I mean, I didn't used to when I was a kid playing this game. I don't think I've ever used Amaranth as a party member, but
Right?
now it's like I'm starting to realize, Amaranth is really actually an incredibly good party member because
He is.
again, like the support, I mean, that kind of an ability is really useful. And then with throw, with chakra, he's pretty dang good.
Yeah,
But
he's got some good stuff.
you also got the Ashura's Rod, which isn't very good. It's just got mini confuse and silence. This is for Dagger, by the way.
Right?
And then you add to the fact that, to be honest, I'm still not using Dagger because
No.
of her concentration issues. So still kind
Yeah,
of
so yeah, I might want to leave that one for a little later,
yeah.
especially.
Definitely pick up some power vests. It's a new clothing armor for like Emerant and
Yeah, the leather.
Sedan and all those guys. It doesn't really have any great abilities, but it'll increase your strength. Red hat, maybe get like one of those. And another really cool item, if you are using Emerant, Wing Edge is finally for sale. And these really powerful throw items.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe get a couple of those. I mean, depends on what your party is, but you do have a power vest, might want to get another one just because, yeah, I mean, they really does boost strength.
They're pretty
And
dang good. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, so that's the items. We always got to slug through that, especially when they give us a whole lot at one time, like they did right now. But we will move on right after we do our bold move. All right, man, go ahead and start us off.
All right. So going back to Final Fantasy VIII on this one, With that story, it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of things that get revealed later on that you didn't know at the time, right? So,
Yes.
at the very beginning of the game, when you get sent off by Sid and Garden to go assassinate, well, I mean, you later get the mission to assassinate Sorceress Adia,
Right.
and it's just so interesting how later on in the story you find out that Sid is still married to Sorceress Adia.
They're separated, okay?
Okay, yeah. So then it's fine to assassinate her.
That makes
got
it
it.
okay.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's like, man, that is bold, dude. You couldn't talk it out or anything. You
Nope.
just had to go ahead and, hire some people to go kill her. Okay.
Pull the trigger, Irvine. Take her out. I need that. I need that life. That life insurance money.
Yeah, for real. It's like insurance fraud or something.
Oh man. Yeah, that is
you
pretty
got?
rough. Yeah, you do learn that. It's
Yeah.
like, dang, dude, you just trying to have your wife assassinated. What's going on with that?
Savage.
Oh man. All right. Well, mine also goes to a Sid from Final Fantasy IX. This might be cheating a little bit, but we literally just talked about how we're in Desert Palace and Sid's a frog. So it was a pretty bold move for him to step up against Zorn Thorn as a frog.
Hey, yeah, that's a
granted, he
good
was trying
point.
to save Eiko. I get that, but dude, you're a frog, man. We can't. Come on, they squished you instantly, as they should. That was a bold
Yeah.
move.
Even after his pitiful attempts at the hedgehog pie game things, he's trying. He does his best.
He got too much courage from grabbing that key from a caged animal.
I know,
It's like,
then
come
he
on,
just
man.
he was full of it.
Yeah. All right, well, those are our bold moves, and let's continue on with Final Fantasy IX. So once you do get all those items, or whatever you can afford, unless you're just gonna go back out to get a little bit more gil, pretty much there's nothing else to do here. So you do need to go ahead, I think it's north, head on up, and you will get to the next screen. Nice song still playing, it's awesome. And we got Magrika, the Moogle, so she is here. If you talk to her and go to Mognet, she herself received a letter from none other than Artemisian. And,
Yeah.
If you do read all these letters and stuff, they really they're all basically kind of talking now about Mog Central and what the heck is
Yeah.
going on. No one's getting their mail. This one's pretty funny because he's talking about he's used too much of it on himself. And,
Yeah,
hey, I
yeah.
know you've used some on it yourself too, kind of a deal. You still don't know what this is, right? They haven't actually named this substance. I mean, we know what it is,
Right.
obviously, but they haven't named it. So it's just kind of a funny little thing that's going on right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like ever since Alexandria at the start of Disc 3, we saw Artemision for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's like the most beautiful Moogle ever or whatever, right? And so, there's some like beauty product or something like they've
Something
been
going
using.
on.
Yeah, so it is funny that you mentioned that we haven't uncovered Ognet Central yet and gone
Yes.
over that, but it does talk about all that stuff. Then on top of that, so after you read that, she will give you a letter to deliver to Mulan.
Yep.
And
So that's the only one you got is Magrika de Moulin, and once again we're kind of just being funneled to the right. So you go down that path and you go into Mount Gulug, which we know is like it says it's like a deactivated volcano or whatever, or something like that.
Yeah,
And
it's something like so the story behind Mount Gulug is apparently there was basically a race of like moles or mole people or something like that went
Yeah.
extinct, and it was sealed a long time ago that they don't know when. And basically what's interesting about this is we finally understand what the Gulag stone was for that we went and got from Eelvert
right.
for Kuja. So it's kind of interesting because it's like this whole different area. You don't really get, like, the story doesn't give you a whole lot of backstory. I think you have
doesn't.
to talk to the bishop to find out a lot of that stuff.
Well, right. Actually, that's a good point because, yeah, it's from what we know and what we'll, discuss going forward. The stone actually, like, we never hear about again. It's never used. So clearly, Kuja just needed that stone in order to open up the volcano or this area.
But also an awesome soundtrack here, right?
Yep, another one.
Beep, boom, bam, bam, beep, boom, bam.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Can't do it, but it's sick. And so, yeah, another thing about this place that's kind of interesting, I didn't know this because me and Mark, we haven't really played a lot of the older Final Fantasies, but apparently this is kind of a throwback. The name of this place is kind of a throwback to Gurgu volcano from Final Fantasy 1. We might have mentioned before that this game has a lot of elements from previous Final Fantasies,
Yeah.
and it's sort of like a little bit of a revival of the series and things after 7 and 8, but just some interesting points with that, that they kind of brought back a lot of elements. They brought back a lot of locations with different names and things like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, well, we're in this place. Let's go ahead. Let's get the encounters out of the way. Kind of an interesting is that, we know that the race of moles or whatever the heck. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just very curious of what they would look like in this game, but it doesn't matter. There are like houses in here. It's kind of like a giant mine shaft almost if you're thinking about it like that, or an empty
Yep.
volcano. I guess that works too. And you will get into different battles depending if you're inside or outside the houses, which is kind of interesting. I guess it's kind of like if you're on the dirt or snow or woods out in the world, it's kind of just different encounters.
Exactly. And these are some really nasty encounters. I'm telling you, like inside the houses, typically you're going to be fighting this like worm hydra thing, which is just this really freaky. How would you explain that?
I don't.
I'm not
Yeah, I
even going to
don't
try to
know.
explain it. Anyways, this the enemy though, he can use, I think it's venom breath or something like that. And we haven't talked about venom because I think this is the first time, other than the Grand Dragon, which is kind of an optional battle that you can have, that
Right.
we've seen the status venom. Venom is a really nasty one because it
Yeah.
basically takes your whatever character is afflicted with it completely out of commission. They're basically under stop. On top of that, it periodically drains their health and MP.
Yeah.
So it is gnarly. Definitely, definitely have antibody equipped. But if you have Kina, you can eat it for bad breath if you didn't get that earlier.
Yeah. Another
So,
opportunity to do that. And then, on the outside, we got some more of the Vespals or whatever. You probably encountered them on the world map on the Lost Continent, but they're not so bad. You just gotta make sure that you gotta watch out for freeze with them. And then there's just grenade and wraiths, which
the wraiths are
that's
like
right.
they're kind of a rarer encounter, and there's two different types of them. They'll have like they're like these floating ghost guys, and they'll have a candle. And basically, how this works is occasionally they'll use a move. I think it's called candle or something like that. But if it's the red one, it's going to inflict heat. If it's the blue one, it's going to inflict frost. And I believe it's the blue one, if you want frost, which is the one blue magic that we haven't talked about with Kina.
Yep.
That's the one that you want to eat for that. I think the red one, you can get mustard bomb
Mustard
if you
bomb,
haven't
yeah.
gotten that one. So,
Yeah, it's like the different colors and they use different magics and stuff, but regardless, let's get through it. So upper section, lower section. Yeah,
yeah.
you do go down a small little bit of rope at some point. So right off the bat, if you do go left into the house, well, if you need some money, most likely you do after buying those items, you will get
Yeah.
a nice little hefty amount, about 9,600 gil. So that's pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
just in the corner.
I just don't get like the random number they come up. It's
I
literally
know.
9693. I don't
You
get
couldn't do
that, but
10,000. I mean,
yeah. They're just used a random number
round it up.
generator or something. They're like, nope, it has to be exactly this number.
It has
But
to be. Yeah.
yeah.
No, but if you do climb the ladder, there's a ladder on the inside of that house, and then you kind of just follow it, take another ladder kind of deal. There's a red hat. It's not in a treasure chest, it's just in the corner as well. So,
Yeah.
you probably should still have bought one, so that way you at least have two. But regardless, once you get that stuff, kind of just go back to the entrance. And this is where things
Exactly.
like it's just again, it's just really hard to describe some of these areas, without seeing it and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And essentially,
Yeah.
we want to get down the rope in the well. There's a well, you want to go all the way down the rope. And there's kind of just stuff that you have to do around it. So before you do head down the rope, you need to work your way to the right. There is a
Hmm.
golden hairpin down one of the, kind of side paths. So if you want to grab that, go ahead. And then at that point, go ahead and go down the rope in the well. You'll get down to what I'm calling the lower section. We need to go lower, but there's a lever. And so it's kind of like you don't know
Yeah.
really what to do.
It's
So,
like there's three tiers to this place,
yeah,
and a lot of what we're saying too when we're saying like go right and go left, you're either going into these little houses or you're kind of on like the scaffolding kind of thing. So
yeah,
but in general, yeah, there's just this central area where there's like what Mark was saying, the well with the rope. And so yeah, now that we're here, we're on sort of the middle layer, the second layer. Just go to the right, and I believe you go into a little house,
yep.
and you'll find Mulan the Moogle. And so now you can deliver that letter from Magrika, and you can also pick up another one from Mulan to Mogtaka.
Mog Taka, yeah. So quick delivery, and you get another one here. And so once again, they're still just talking about Mognet. It's hilarious, but
Yeah,
get
it's
another
the
one. Nothing really else to
scuttlebutt.
do. So go ahead, exit the room via the right door, and
Mhm.
you kind of just have to explore this. So there's like kind of a ramp and a house there too, and there's even if you go kind of like all the way to the right, there's some scaffolding and there's like a note talking about levers, and so
Yeah.
those are going to be kind of around to kind of give you the true clue as to how you maneuver this lever to get all the way
Yeah.
down.
And it's
And
funny because it even has like their name where it's like, something the mole or whatever,
yeah,
right?
that's true.
So,
Yeah, it's like they're extinct, and yet their pieces of paper are still scattered around.
I know,
Meanwhile,
right?
there's no skeletons or whatever. But
Yeah.
regardless, once you do kind of go up that area, I think there's like a treasure too. It's nothing,
Yep.
maybe just another ween edge. I think head back to where Moulin is. Here's a little surprise, right? There's a little
Oh
a
man.
little roar. And a dragon just like flies
Yeah.
onto the top of that house, and it is a battle with two of them. So,
Yep.
oof, if you're not prepared, man, this
Dragons with
can be
wings.
very frustrating.
Yeah, these are some seriously tough battles. So like Mark said, these are kind of interesting in that they're not random. They're completely like you do a specific thing, like you go and get that treasure, and then on your
Right.
way back, you're always gonna get this random or not random encounter, this battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys are seriously tough. We mentioned earlier to get the Octagon Rod, there's a good reason for this. They like to use Twister a lot. And the nice thing about Twister is it absorbs wind, which is a
Or
real
it is
lifesaver.
wind based, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And so octagon is what absorbs wind. So yeah, Twister wind based attack, and I think it even has like another one. I'm forgetting what it is. It's kind of like
aerial
another.
slash.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
they
another
use.
area of effect one where it hits like one character and then like
Yeah,
you know, hits the other kind of couple near them or whatever. But yeah, Octagon Rod absorbs it, which is very
yeah,
handy because especially if you haven't been using VV, mine he only had like 800 health, and so
yeah.
absorbing 700, which it's like oh my gosh, he would have just been dying all the time.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, we gotta talk about this. What is up with Twister's damage
It's
formula? It's
very
really
random, isn't
random.
it?
Like, yeah, it'll do like, maybe 700 to one person. It'll do like 2,000 to another
Yeah.
person, just wipe them out. So
That would be yeah, we gotta actually look into that because that'd be
I'll look into,
interesting to
yeah.
see if it's like just a set number of damage that distributes among all the characters, or if it
There's
just
gotta
is
be,
random per character, because
yeah, there's
yeah, there's
gotta be
sometimes
some
where it'll hit and it'll only
calculation
do
to
like
it.
maybe 200 to someone, and then it'll
Right.
just totally take out Amarant, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it seems like the more HP you have, the more damage potential it has. So maybe it's like
yeah,
HP based or something. But I mean, aside from Twister, that's kind of these guys' biggest attack because, like Mark said, they've got aerial a slash, which isn't that big of a deal because it's pretty
no,
consistent. It doesn't do a huge. It's not that variable. And then they've got like
I think it's
a
wing
dive
attack or something
attack.
that can
Yeah, that just does physical damage. But
yeah, I
they also have a decent amount of HP. I think they're
think it's
what,
about
35. 30.
8,000. I think is what it
Oh
is,
yeah. Okay, yeah,
which
it's a lot.
it's quite a bit, yeah. And you can eat them if you have Kina for Twister. I would just skip this first one, or at the very
Yeah,
least, just focus on one because you will get in a battle here pretty soon with just one of them, and so that would definitely
yeah.
be the easier one to kind
It's
of get them.
pretty risky to go for that. So yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean, when
agree.
they're just popping off twisters right and left with two of them, it's not very great to have to sit there and try to just, whittle one down slowly. And
Yeah.
so, if you do survive that, congratulations. No, but kind of just
Yeah.
head on back. You're backtracking, right? So, again, we want to go back to Moulin and to the well, and now you can just go left. So, you go left, there's another house, there's a demon's mail, which now at this point, it's like, who cares, man? I got them. And
Right?
and that's really it. Just head in the house, get that, and then pop back out and head north. And another Moogle. It's
Yeah.
Mogtaka. Man, what is this? The first, like, I don't know, three, I don't know, it's 2/3 of the game. We've held on to
Uh-huh.
letters for like hours and hours and hours, and now
Yeah.
our deliveries are literally like down and around the corner. It's like, come
Just
on, man, seriously, you can't do this yourself?
yeah, just like sequentially one after the other. When we had that part in the middle of the game where we were holding on to, I think like Fossil Rue to Blackman Village. We had like
Yeah.
3 letters or something. We were holding on to that one from Fossil Rue forever.
Yep.
So yeah, it is
Yep.
kind of funny the way that works. And then on top of that too, what are they doing in here? I mean, there's nobody here. They've been locked in this place forever, so they haven't been able to deliver their letter, but they're delivering it to like each other, so they could have just,
Pen pals,
gone and
man.
talked to each other.
Yeah, no. So deliver that letter from Moulin, and you don't get anything new from Mogtaka. So there's that. Mogtaka
Yeah.
does have a Mog store, though, a Mog shop. It's just items, and it's actually nothing really great. And, as I say that, you might, if you're at this point, you might want to head back into Esto Gaza and get some vaccines, by the way.
Yeah, good call.
You cannot buy them from Mogtaka, does not have them. So we forgot
Oh,
to mention that.
interesting.
Stock up on some vaccines if you do not have any.
Yeah, we talked about vaccines the first time, I think, before we got to Eelvert. I noted that it's a new thing, and if you were playing for the first time, you might not take notice because you haven't seen the
Yeah.
status yet, but that's a good fair warning. Grab some of those now. So,
Yes. And we will continue down the volcano, but let's do our seed trivia first. Alex is on a little bit of a roll here. He's on his rank 27 seed trivia quiz. I think you're gonna like this one, man. I got a pretty good mixture of questions that are, I don't know, they might not be so easy, but they're pretty interesting. So we're gonna go ahead and just start it right off in Final Fantasy IX. The description for judo uniform is clothes from a foreign land.
true. I remember looking at that.
Final Fantasy 12. After you have raised your party's average level above 50, you unlock the Penelo Sky Pirate figurine in the Sky Pirate's Den.
Um, True.
Final Fantasy 7. The cost to stay at the Ghost Hotel in the Gold Saucer is 15 GP.
Yeah, no, it's GP. Yeah, 15 sounds about right. True.
Okay, our next one is in Final Fantasy 13. Not even write this down. I think it's the Sanctum, right? The Sanctum Fal'Cie that branded the party is Kujata.
False.
Final Fantasy 8. Now, without card mod, right? So discard card mod. Water is the strongest magic pre-Ifrit.
Oh, true.
Alright. Final Fantasy 10 2. You're gonna have to think about this one, man. Waka is gonna be a father soon, you know? Gotta pull it together, yeah?
Oh man. True. Gotta pull it together, y'all.
Gotta pull it together, yeah? Alright, man, our last question, Final Fantasy 10. If you are feeling rich, you can bribe Ultima Weapon for 1.4 million gil and get 99 pendulums.
True.
Alright, let's recap this. First question was Final Fantasy 9 in the judo uniform's description as clothes from a foreign land. You said true, it is true. They are closed from a foreign
Yeah.
land. Just,
Simple description.
yes, it was pretty, I found it entertaining. Alright,
Yeah,
Final
no.
Fantasy XII was the
Judo.
whole raising the party's average level above 50, and then you unlock the Penelo Sky Pirate little figure.
Mm-hmm.
You said true, and it's false. It is Ash. You get Ash as the figure.
Which one was Penelo?
Dude, I
can't
got no
remember.
idea. There's like 30 of them.
Okay, I'll have to go back. Yeah, seriously.
That den
That's a good
is
question.
packed when you get it filled. It's like, geez, man, you guys
For
need to
real.
spread out. Alright, Final Fantasy VII, the cost to stay at the Ghost Hotel is 15 GP. You said true, and it's false. It's only 5
Oh,
GP. It only cost you 5.
Man,
Yeah.
that's crazy. It's the
don't-
same to save at the save point.
Yep.
Anyways.
Alright, Final Fantasy 13, the Sanctum Falsi that branded the party as Kujata. You said false. And it's true, it is named Kujata.
What?
Yeah.
I thought it was Anima.
No, I mean, I looked it up, man.
Okay.
Sanctum
That's interesting,
Falsi
I
that
forgot.
branded them when they were, in that very beginning. Kujata.
Yeah.
Don't hold me to it. I mean, I literally looked it up, but
It's all good.
we'll see. All right, so you missed 3,
That's
man.
good.
Can't miss another one.
Dang.
All right, Final Fantasy VIII. So regarding not caring about card mod, rather, water is the strongest magic pre-Ifrit. You said true. I think it's true also. I mean, I can't think of anything else that would be stronger than that.
And
at
you
that
said
point.
without using card mod,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So no card mod,
think
and
so.
just basically what you got right there. There's a couple draw points you can get in Balam, right? But I think water's best. And so,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
all right, you got that right. Final Fantasy X-2. Waka is gonna be a father soon.
Yeah.
Gotta pull it together, yeah. You said true. It is true. He is gonna be a father soon, and he does need to pull it together.
Yeah, and I gotta point out too how funny there's a part in there where Riku's like, "That's right, Tubby," and then he's still got like a 6-pack though.
I know, right? Final Fantasy X was our last question. If you bribe Ultima Weapon for 1.4 million gil, you'll get 99 pendulums. You said true, and it is true.
Yes.
What a man. That's a lot of gil in
Yeah,
a game that is
exactly.
not easy to get gil.
Oh,
But
for real.
you did it, man. You only missed 3,
Nice.
maybe 2 can fall, pending that false C thing. But regardless, you passed the rank 27 quiz. I'm trying to
Definitely.
branch out, man. Trying to get some
Yeah.
interesting questions. So,
Well, you totally got me on the GP one. I really thought that was 15, but yeah.
5. But, man, congrats, good job, and
Yes.
let's go ahead and finish out the Mount Gulug. Essentially, we just left off before going to see trivia where we are at Magtaka, the Moogle. And if you kind of just, again, move forward, there's only one way at this point. I think it's inside a house. You will get that one red dragon battle that I alluded to. And so
Yeah.
now would be a great time if you want to try to eat it. Again, about 8,000 health, so that kind of should give you a little bit of an idea of what you need to bring it down to. But regardless, one is much easier than the 2.
Yeah, and this one kind of sometimes it make you jump a little bit, just bust through the wall. Like you have, that's what's so interesting about these ones is you have no idea. You're just running around, and then all of a sudden these guys are like flying down on the roofs.
Yeah.
They're busting through the walls. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, they got used to it after eating all those moles, man. And so
I guess.
mole
I guess
people
so.
died. There is once you defeat it, there is no elixir in that room as well. I think you just kind of search one of the far corners, and that's kind of it, right? So like do you actually know, do you have to do all of those red dragon battles in order to continue on, or can you just go straight to the lever and do it?
Pretty sure you can go straight to the lever and
Okay.
just head on with the story, but
I think the benefit for the battles, right, going to these areas is the notes, right, that kind of give you the idea of how to flip the lever. So all of that walkthrough right there, just to say, if you want to go to the lever, go ahead, backtrack to the wall, flip it down 3 times, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I know, it's really weird because like I remember the first couple times I played this, I never even read the notes, and I think I just guessed flip down because that's like the logical thing, right? You're trying to head down. So, but you have like I think flip up, flip down.
Yes.
But yeah, basically like what you said, you just flip it down 3 times, and then it drops the bucket, and then you can slide down the rope all the way to the bottom.
Yep. Some more red dragons will bust through the wall. So again,
Yeah, you have.
might want
Yeah,
to, just get a fresh pair of underpants because you probably pooped yourself as they came on through. But here you
and
go,
it's
two
weird.
more.
Yeah, and it's weird too because I don't know if you've had this, but you kind of it takes a minute. You get
It
down there
does.
and there's no way out, and then you're running around, and then all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, all right, more red dragons. And like
It's
what we talked about earlier, honestly, if your team gets wiped out with Twister, don't even bother reviving him. Vivi can pretty much solo these battles.
well, yeah. I
If
mean,
he's in the
it's
back row,
they
like
will
he's
use
good.
Twister.
Yeah.
And it will heal them almost instantly. And Blizzaga, I think, does like it's like 3 to 4,000 to them. So I mean,
Yep.
he will
And
decimate them.
he's got Drain.
Yeah,
He's got
that too.
Osmos. He's like a one man. This is the point in the game where he's just like a one man wrecking machine.
Yeah. It's like, darn, they forced me to take him. Shucks, man.
I know. I mean, it would be a problem if you didn't get Octagon Rod, but like, why
That's
wouldn't
true.
you? I mean, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
So,
and it's brand new and it has all those magic, so I think
right,
everyone buys it
yeah.
and gets excited. So, but regardless, once you do defeat those two dragons, that's the last of them. You don't have to fight them anymore. And instead, if you head on out, you will see Eiko, and she's down there, and
Oh
Zorn and
man.
Thorn are circling her. And they're trying to do the extraction process. So I guess that has to beg the question, man. Like,
Hmm.
so did they have to come here in order to do this extraction little ceremony thing?
I think they did because they have to be in like a certain area, I guess, to be able to do that, right? Like we
Yeah,
think back when they were doing it in
Alexandria.
S2 in Alexandria, same thing with Dagger, and they were kind of in that little like shrine area.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
That's a
that's true.
good
And that like
question. I
kind of
have
the
to
stone on the bottom looked the same, kind of a deal. And so you
exactly.
you
Yeah,
do need
but
to kind of just do some piecing together yourself there because it really doesn't fill it in too much. And
yeah,
so
that's a good question though.
yeah. And so there's some story here. Basically, just to kind of fill it in, Zorn and Thorn fail. They're like, we can't actually do this because she's not
Hmm.
16 yet. And Kuja's like, dude, I don't care, kill her if you have to. And
Dang, Kuja.
I know he's like I mean, come on, man, you're gonna kill children now? I guess he already has in Alexandria. He doesn't really care how much blood's on his hands
Yeah,
at this point.
yeah,
But we do
that's
find
right.
out
Yeah.
Mog pops out and starts to go into a trance is what actually is filled into us right after this. And here you go. So you get into a battle with Eiko versus Zorn and Thorn, and it's just a complete automatic thing. It just happens.
Yeah.
Mog tells her to summon Terra Homing, and so you'll do it. And dude, I mean, it's an insane summon. It's like,
I love it.
okay, it's like it actually looks like Griever from Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah,
And
seriously.
like I don't even want to describe it, but basically he just
Uh,
decimates them, kills them instantly. Not hard to
It's like
do. It's Sword and Thorn.
it's almost like supernova animation from Final Fantasy VII. It like takes
Yeah.
you to space, and then he sets up like this force field thing, just destroying everything, plummets them into it. Yeah, it's a crazy animation, is what we're trying to say. But one thing that I always find kind of funny about this is let's suppose for a second that this wasn't an automatic battle. How would that play out with one character and two of them? Because we know what they do. Like you wouldn't be able to attack both of them. They'd kill her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of
Well,
interesting,
well,
right?
maybe if you got Tiger Racket, I think she would just
Oh
kick their
yeah.
butts. But
You could also just continuously summon, I guess, if you had a
yeah.
way to attack both of them at the same time to neutralize power. But just something I always thought about.
Yeah, that is actually kind of interesting thought. Regardless, it is automatic and you will just kill them and you get Ribbon after that, so that's pretty cool. It's
Yep.
not as exciting as Ribbon is in most other Final Fantasies, but hey,
Yeah, unfortunately not.
yeah.
Be nice if it made you immune to everything,
Oh
but
gosh, that'd be fantastic. But
can't be that lucky. And then
no,
this is also when Kuja comes in and he basically was like, "What the heck happened?" Oh, that Moogle went into a trance. You know?
yeah. So that kind of reminds me to fill in a little bit more. Right, Kuja wants to extract the Eidolons from Eiko to basically fight Garland. Right, we know that Garland kind of just diminished his hopes. He killed Alexander rather. Kuja wants to get back and wants an Eidolon, and this is kind of now he's more focused now on trance. He's figuring out, he's like, oh, so that's what trance is. It's this and that. And he basically just kind of talks about how he just needs a powerful soul, even if it's not mine. And oh, I can go there to get it. Very,
Yeah.
very obscure, and as
Very
usual.
cryptic.
And so
Right.
that's what happens there. Of course, Zidane, everyone comes down. Kuja's not very excited. He's that he's doing his monologue there, and they're like, "Dude, what are you doing, man? Stop just talking to
Yeah.
yourself all the time."
He's always scheming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And then
he go ahead and leaves, and does a little something to the little court jesters on the ground.
yeah, it's kind of creepy because he even says he's like, "Oh, well, they pretty much served their purpose. Of course, they're not even twins after all." And you're
Yeah.
like, "What the heck are you talking about?" And so yeah, they kind of like reanimate and do this creepy yeah, they like reanimate
Kind
and
of like
then
merge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you end up fighting this incredibly weird
Dude,
looking
it's grotesque, man.
it is. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically the two of them merged into some creature. And this is always just super interesting to me. Like, so apparently this is what they really were the whole time, I guess, is they weren't really like actual,
Two
what do you
separate
call them?
things, or
Well, sort of. I mean, but they weren't really beings. They were actually sort of created for this, and they were pretty much monsters the whole time. Or
yeah.
do you think he reanimated them that way? I don't know. It's something I've always wondered about. What the heck? What
Yeah,
are they?
because like
What
you
is melting?
said that Kuja mentions like how they're not twins after all, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's like what does
Exactly.
that even mean? Like, so okay, are they like black mages? Like, what exactly are these guys? But
Yeah, and they sort of showed up at the same time that he did and started deceiving Braun. So it's really interesting when you think about it. Like he was sort of their pawns to begin with.
yeah.
But
Well,
anyway,
regardless, here you go, boss battle time. What is it? Melty Gemini, I guess, is what
Yeah,
they're called, and
Melty Gemini.
Gemini.
Yeah,
I don't really know. But regardless, right before this battle happens, Vivi chases after Kuja,
yeah,
and Eiko stays. So essentially, Vivi's gone. Eiko's in the party now to fill in that spot, which kind of
yeah,
sucks,
and
actually.
it does because you don't have a chance to equip her or anything before this
No, you
fight. So
don't.
really, when you think about it, if you knew everything that was going to happen, the last time you have to really equip her is back at the Desert Palace, which is kind of crazy.
Which
So,
is kind of funny because we recommended taking all the really good stuff off her if you
yeah.
plan on using it. So if you did do that, she doesn't actually have hardly anything on. And
Oh,
so
good point. We didn't want to
that,
spoil it.
no. So, joke's on you. Gotcha. No,
Yeah.
kind of right off the bat here we go. Steals. It is unfortunately nothing too amazing. You can't get 100% vaccine, so you can at least have one if you've never bought
Yeah.
one or got another one before. And a golden hairpin. I mean, that's okay.
Not
The
bad.
vaccine's
Yeah.
100%, golden hairpin's 25. But the cool thing, which is new if you are lucky enough to get it, is Demon's Vest, not to be, confused with Demon's Mail, completely different and
Mhm.
better item. But it's a 0.39% chance. We always have those
Yeah.
super incredibly rare steals now on every boss.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy. But this is a pretty tough battle, and this guy, we talked about the vaccines. The reason why he
Yes.
starts off the battle right off the bat with a move called Viral Smoke. This inflicts a virus on the party, and basically, it's not really the end of the world, but what it does is it disables experience and AP gains. So, unfortunately, if you do finish the battle with virus on your characters, they won't get anything. An
Yeah.
annoying thing about this status too is it actually lasts from battle to battle. So even if you don't use the vaccine after the battle and go into the next one, they'll still have virus.
Yeah. Kind of that's a catch 22. Maybe if you really just don't care, then I wouldn't even waste the turns trying to get rid of it, And so just leave it on if you want.
Yeah, because
But
he'll use it again over time too. So
yeah, exactly. And it's on the whole party. And so kind of sucks. He does use bio, and it's actually pretty strong. It did one shot
yeah,
Eiko in my game a couple times. She only had like mid 700s health. So, she
yeah,
probably is
I
a
feel
little
you.
underdeveloped.
Yeah,
She was getting one shot by that. Wings was another ability they used that was also one shotting
wings.
her. And so,
That is actually a really strong move. I mean, that tends to go critical a lot, and on
yeah.
Zidane it can do like 2,000 damage, so he's actually pretty dang strong. And then to add insult to injury, he's also got Venom Powder, which inflicts venom on the party, which is really
Yes.
not very nice.
No, because if you don't have antibody and a few of them
It's
get
game
hit,
over.
again, it's that stop thing, it's the drain thing. It sucks. It's
Yeah,
just not
and
fun.
actually, I forgot to mention. So, like stop, if your whole party or the only alive members of your party are hit with venom, it's a game over. So that's
Yeah.
another reason why it's a big deal.
Yes. And he does have a hefty amount of health. I think it's around like 24,000 or something like that. So, regardless, if you do go ahead, take him out. Congrats, there you go. It's awesome. And, well, once again, Kuja's ran away. I feel like we're just playing cat and mouse with them this entire video game. And so, that's fun. We'll have to chase them again. And, he took the airship with him at that. One little thing, though, there is a room right after that, and someone's like, hey, there's someone out there? And you go in,
what's
and
going
it's
on?
none other than Hilda. And it's like, of course, the Dane doesn't know who she is, which is interesting because he's from Lindblum, and it's like you didn't know her. But anyways, Dagger comes in, they recognize each other, find out that she is Hilda. She essentially just says, like, I'll go back with you kind of a deal. Thanks for coming here. He treated, although he was a raving lunatic and he liked to talk to himself a lot, he treated her kindly kind of a deal. And so, at least he was respectful to a woman. And so, not to little girls, but to women and, Hilda specifically, I guess.
Yeah, which, I mean, what the heck? Like, she was just chilling in this room, and you can see, too, it's really funny because there's, like, a bed set up and everything. So she's literally just, like, living in this dark cave, like, volcano room or something.
Like,
I don't understand.
Did she come with them? Was she with him all along, Kuja? Because how did she get there? And, this whole place was sealed by this stone that we had to get from Ulvert, and all that. Like, how did she get there to begin with? And it's very... I don't think they thought this through when they wrote this section,
No, because how did she move in? There's a bed in there and everything. Like I said, it's like...
It's very
she
homey.
Moved in real quick, Yeah, I mean, you can tell, like, anybody who plays a game, seriously, like, take notice of, like, how... It's like a room. So... How long has she been there? I don't know.
Well, regardless, the magical Hilda just has a home here, apparently at the bottom of a volcano, and Kuja just happened to be there as well at the same time, and so, it's all very convenient. So once after this scene plays out, you will just be popped back into Lindblum, and actually, funny thing is right before that, Sid does come in, is like, Hilda. And she's like, I don't remember marrying a frog.
Yeah.
It's like, sweet Sid. Once you're back at Lindblum, Sid is finally like, hey, look, man, you got to turn me back into a human. It just has to happen. I'm tired of being a oglop and a frog. And, she's just basically explaining to Kuja, he was basically just talking to her about his master plan, how he was just trying to, as we already kind of know, just obtain as much destructive power as possible. But at least he wasn't a skirt chaser like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Burn.
And what's really funny about this, I know, seriously. And what's so funny about this too is that she's like, okay, I'll change you back, but if you do that kind of stuff again, if you're still chasing skirts and all that stuff, I'm gonna turn you into much worse. And then she's like, maybe I'll turn you into a hedgehog pie. He's just like, no. It's just funny dialogue.
I just thought, dude, that was savage though, man. It's like, we got this megalomaniac who kills and destroys literally everything he touches, but at least he's not a skirt chaser.
I know, right?
It's like,
seriously.
Okay.
She's hating on him, man.
Yeah, totally. And so she does turn him back, and so we finally get to see what Sid actually looks like as a human. He's very prominent, and that mustache is even more glorious. And just some last little funny things with that is he's still saying guac and ribbit, even
yeah.
he's a human.
The best part about this, he's got like going back and forth too. It's like something, guac, and then next thing it'll be like ribbit. It's so funny. I love it.
It is hysterical. And, well, that's where we're going to end it, because it's going to surprise you all, but it's about to open up again in the open world, and we... Oh, gosh, have even more to get to. But, as I said, that will do it for this episode. We thank you all so much for listening and hanging out with us as we progress this story. We are getting very close to the end, and so I know many of you are starting to get excited. We are going to be going to Final Fantasy X next.
Yeah.
So we still have some episodes here, but... that is in the horizon, and we are both super excited about that as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Final Fantasy X posts on Instagram, too, get a lot of attention. You guys seem to really enjoy it. So we're looking
Yes,
forward to getting into that, and it's going to be fun. It's
it
going to be a
is.
lot of good times.
Yes, and we might have a little side things in the works too involving Final Fantasy X. So maybe some more info on that later as we kind of work it out. But as I said, thank you all for hanging out. Make sure you stop off on our Instagram. Same handle, Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. We just post all the media. That's essentially all it is. It's just non-stop, always Final Fantasy media is what it is. And
Yeah.
so it's a lot of fun because we like to take the screenshots and the clips, things that we generally found to be very entertaining or, serious or whatever it is. And so it's just kind of cool doing that. And also make sure you stop off at our website, finalstopforfinalfantasytalks.com. Just a little more info there. You can listen to the episodes there. You can check out the blog posts, listen to some of the songs and stuff that we use during the episode. So kind of just a little extra bit for you. Well, that'll do it for us. We'll see you next time. I'm Mark.
And I'm Alex.
And this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks.